What is going on, collective? It's your boy Adam Raw. Welcome to my channel. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit the notification bell, you know what I'm saying, let you know when I do more videos. And we're gonna jump right on in there, right? So today it was really awkward. It was really odd. What I saw today, it was like a I didn't see a vision like I normally do. Normally I see like 2D figures, but this time I saw a 3D figure. Okay, it was almost like a model. Okay, and what happened was there was this guy or this person. I don't know if they were sitting in like the basement of a house, or they were sitting on some kind of sofa or a couch or something. And the couch has its back to like a window. There's a window right behind this person, right? And not only that, this person was sitting there watching TV. But what I saw, it was kind of like fourth wall knowledge, or like a fourth wall view, where I saw the person on this couch watching TV, and it gave me the vibe that they were watching someone, or they were watching like on their phone or something, watching someone on their phone. Yeah, they were watching someone on their phone, but also like watching TV or something like that. But what he didn't see, or what was behind him, was this tall black entity. There was like this really tall black, like not necessarily disfigured, but kind of like, I would say it was just like this tall figure in all black. Whoever it was like a silhouette. They were dressed in all black, and they were like standing, like I want to say like they were standing on something, looking in the window of the basement, and they were watching this person. So the vibe, and also I've been seeing a lot of anomalies lately. What I call them anomalies, because it's kind of like they are like shadow figures and shadow silhouettes, and you know what I'm saying, shadow people basically. But they are like, their bodies are fluid, if that make any sense. It's kind of like they might have like one extra long arm and a long torso or whatever, and you know what I'm saying. So there's a lot of shadow people and stuff like that out here today. I don't know what's going on personally, but it's apparent that they have their eyes all on maybe one person that I've seen. Okay, so if you are being watched, or you've been gang stalked, or whatever it may be, just know that there is an entity attached to the person who's watching you. And not only is that, but they could be being watched by someone else. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of eyes on whoever has been watching and or stalking you, right? Alright, so that's kind of like confirmation, because normally, my phone don't die, don't do what it did, right? Yeah, that's confirmation. Whoever this person is, they definitely been watching, and they know that these entities are has been latched onto them, has been watching them and stuff like that. Okay, so going forward, let's see here. Let's see what kind of messages our ancestors and spirit guides have for us today, and we're gonna go from there. Yeah, man, it was wild, because normally I see like 2D figures, or I could read like smoke. Sometimes like water, well, not necessarily water, but I can definitely pick up on, there's a variety of different things I can pick up on. But today I saw clear as day, like a 3D figure outline of what was going on. You know what I'm saying? Almost like I was looking in a dollhouse, right? Okay, so I decided to do a little stichomacy today. That's going to be the form of divination for today, stichomacy. Basically, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna thumb through a random book, and we're gonna take the lesson from that, and we are going to let that be our message for today. I'm gonna pull a few cards on it, and we're gonna leave it like that, right? So today we are going to talk about let's see here. All right, so what I got here is randomly out of a book. We got the indications show that you will feel more positive if you wish to make decisions about your future. It might be good to concentrate on these matters at present. So if you are looking to make positive changes in your life, the cards that I pulled today is going to help you. Are going to be the key things that you want to focus on in your life, right? These are the key areas that you want to focus on, right? All right, the first thing that you want to focus on is 3 of Cups here. How you celebrate in your friendship circle here, right? So the company that you keep is very important, especially if you want to make positive changes in your life. And this could be like pretty much obvious or whatever, but maybe somebody needs to hear this. But the friendship circle that you have or that you keep, actually, yeah, it definitely defines you. You do share energy. So like I was preaching before, like, if you are hanging around people who don't have anything, 9 times out of 10, there's going to be a mutual energy that causes you to not have anything as well. It's going to be common. I mean, it's going to be, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be mutual, right? Okay. Also, the vibe that I get here with this 3 of Cups is that, don't overdo it when it comes to people, you know what I'm saying? Some people have this, like I'll put it like this. There's a lot of people that have a hoarding mentality, right? We have a tendency to hoard the things that we like. Those who are broke tend to hoard wealth. Those who are emotionally bruised tend to hoard people, or hoard food, or hoard memories, or hoard different things in their life. What are you hoarding in your life that you know you need to get rid of is the question here. What is it about or in your life that you are hoarding? You know what I'm saying? People hoard control. People hoard dominance. People hoard it's a variety of different things that we hoard in our lives, or that we gorge ourselves on. Okay, so you have to be mindful of what you're gorging yourself on, about what what you choose to overindulge in. Okay, because what you overindulge in, it's okay to indulge, but when you overindulge in one thing, that becomes the demon, that becomes the shackle, that becomes the handcuff that you create for your life tomorrow. Okay, for example, those who are overindulgent on having money, you know what I'm saying, they're overly indulgent about having money, or looking like they're the man, or whatever, tend to lead towards greed, right? And what greed do? Essentially, greed causes you to devour yourself. You know what I'm saying? You devour yourself through greed. So yeah, and and that comes from conning the wrong people, or trying to con people with scams and stuff like that. It's a lot of that going on too. It's a lot of scams and stuff like that that's going on. So definitely be careful about the scammers out here in this realm, in this world. There's a lot of them out here. Okay. Next we have another thing that you need to focus on. King of Swords, living your truth, right? It's one thing to, matter of fact, let's go through the whole sword deck, okay? Now, remember I told you that I redefined my deck in order to represent, like, what, you know, different aspects, right? The sword right here represents truth and where your mind is, okay? So, basically with the Ace of Swords, that right there has to do with mental clarity, being able to focus, staying on track, right? Two of Swords is, the lesson behind Two of Swords is creating, you know, is choosing the right direction to go. That, you know what I'm saying? Balancing out two decisions and choosing the one best for you. The Three of Swords is mentally getting over that pain and hurt, because all things begin in the mind, right? So if you allow that to permeate in your mind, guess what happens? You continue to experience that hurt over and over again. Same thing with the Four of Swords. The Four of Swords, that is the contemplation of knowledge, or contemplation of ideas and, you know, concepts. The Five of Swords has to do with fighting or conflict, or, you know what I'm saying, conflicting beliefs. Six of Swords, releasing, walking away. So, you know, walking away with your truth, you know what I'm saying? Separating with your truth, living your, you know, yeah, separating with your truth, almost like an exiling energy. Seven of Swords has to do with deception, self-defeat, has to do with deceit in other people, like third-party interference and stuff like that, and getting through, you know, the wisdom, getting through all information and getting all the information to make an informed decision, even when someone is being deceptive or deceitful, right? Then you got the Eight of Swords, in which you are being tested. The knowledge and wisdom that you have is being tested. Well, not knowledge and wisdom, but your ideas and belief system is being tested, right? Then you have the Nine of Swords, in which your belief system, there's a conflict in your belief system keeping you up. The Ten of Swords is when you become injured, when you are injured based off of what you believe, or what you following a certain belief leads you to, you know, being injured in some way, shape, or form, right? It's injurious to you, right? Most people say it's backstabbing and betrayal, but in my opinion, it gave me the vibe more of like, you were embracing an idea or a belief to the bitter end, and it resulted in, you know, this injury, because all things change, right? And when you don't change with the times, what happens? You get left behind. You have to be killed off, right? Basically. So that's what my Ten of Swords. You got the Page of Swords, in which you are gathering information and new ideas, gaining new clarity, gaining insight into something before you begin. You have the Knight of Swords, in which you are rushing off to make an informed decision, for the most part, according to the information you have. Then you have the Queen of Swords, right? The Queen of Swords learns all those other cards and learns how to express it in an informed way, right? She has her experience with each and every last one of those cards, which is why I went through all of those. And based off of all that information, guess what she does? She expresses her truth. She speaks her truth. She's upfront about her truth, right? You're expressing. Now, when you get to the King of Swords, what separates the King of Swords from the Queen of Swords is that the King of Swords becomes that truth. The Queen of Swords is still coming from an emotional place designed to needing to express in their truth. But in the King of Swords, you allow your truth. You allow truth to be exposed to you. You become your truth, and you expose your truth to the world. It's mutual, okay? The world exposes something to you. You expose something to the world. It's a constant give and take. That's all life is generally all about. You expressing or exposing yourself to the world, and then the world expressing and exposing itself to you. That's it. Upload, download, upload, download, upload, download. That's all it is. Just like the internet. Upload and download all over, every day, all day, right? Every decision. As the King of Swords, you become your truth. You become it. This has to do with your character. You become your truth, right? So if you're going to take a, basically based on a book, someone was trying to make a move towards positivity or just transitioning to a more positive note. Overindulgence is the first thing that has to go. Yeah, and I'm not saying that you don't live a happy life or do good things, you know what I'm saying, enjoy yourself or nothing like that. Like those, you know, it's not saying you don't have sex, you don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't do this, you know. It's not that. It's moderation. You see what I'm saying? It's moderation. You don't restrict it. You don't hold it back. You don't abuse it. You don't abuse anything. If you are to grow, you don't abuse anything. You moderate it. That's just like what a lot of people try to expose people who are like high vibrational. They keep saying, oh, well, you're not a prophet. You're not a prophetess. You're not this. You're not that. You smoke. You drink. You this. You did it. See, that comes from the mind state that as you acquire, as you move up in the light, that you are supposed to be holier than thou. Where did that come from, though? That came from your own definition, your own expectation. You are trying to push your expectation of what you think a holy person should be onto that person and expect them to live up to that expectation. You see what I'm saying? That's not what moving up is. When you accelerate or you move up in the spirit, you learn to combine the light and the dark. Moderation. You have to temper justice and mercy. You see? Justice and mercy. The left and the right hand. You see what I'm saying? If we were to be only merciful, God would only give us one hand, one eye, one ear. Right? You have two eyes to see things from your point of view and someone else's point of view. You have two ears to hear what they are saying and to communicate what you want to say. One ear for understanding and one ear for being understood. You see what I'm saying? Left and right brain to see outside the box and see what's inside the box. You see what I'm saying? The pineal gland to see both at the same time. Two lungs. You respirate, you oscillate. You inhale, you absorb, and you release, right? Two. Everything of balance is two. If you are to balance yourself out in this world, that's the only way you can, ascend. You have to balance the light, the good in you, with the dark aspect of you. It's all about moderation. That's all it's about. It's not about you never smoking again. No, there's prophets and priests out here who's even holier than, pastors out here that smoke weed. Some probably even do some of the harder shit too. Believe it or not. Do I condone it personally? That's not for me to say. Me personally, I'll put it like this. Personally, I don't agree with it. But at the end of the day, it's all about establishing your own relationship with the Most High God. Okay? And the only way to do that is moderation. If Moses was all light, do you think God would have used him? No. You know why? Because he wouldn't have known how to use justice and mercy together. It wasn't until Moses committed a crime that God said, yes, I want this man. You see what I'm saying? David, he was out there, he was worshiping God all the time. But it wasn't until after, and then after he killed Goliath, after he committed that crime of, not really committed a crime, but after he killed Goliath, that's when the anointing was really evident on his life. A lot of people, you know what I'm saying, it was anointing on his life, but it didn't become evident until he learned how to use the dark with the light. You see what I'm saying? Dark with the light. Am I saying you have to commit? No, you don't have to do that. What I am saying is that there's a shadow side of you, there's a light side of you. Okay? If you let that shadow overrun you, you run amok in your life, You become the demon that you are trying to, you become that demon, okay? So if you are like one of these people who chase, like I say, like you know, greedy, only want the money and stuff like that, the demon of money will lead you astray, will have you doing things you wouldn't ordinarily do for money. You see what I'm saying? Basically, you sell your soul for money in a sense, because if I want you to do something, I have to offer you the right amount of money, and you will do it. You see what I'm saying? Why should someone have that kind of power over you? Don't you deserve to be able to live your life outside of that, where you could just say, you know what, it is a lot of money, but nah, that's not me. I don't agree with it personally. A man that can say that, a woman who can say that, a child that can say that and walk away from something like that, that is self-worth. That's self-empower. That's empowering, okay? Not only does that give you power, but those who witness it get a dose of that power too. Power is infectious, but only for those who don't try to hoard it. You see? Now, anyway, like I was saying, you have to temper justice and mercy, just like with the tree of life. You have that middle pillar for a reason. You know what I'm saying? You have that middle pillar for a reason. You have the pillar of mercy, and you have the pillar of strength, or I would say like the Gevurah and well, yeah, like the I want to say one is mercy, and then the other one is justice. Okay. Another thing about reason why, you know, when you ascend, or when you want more positivity come in your life, why it's important to I'm not saying everything is going to be balanced. The way I do my balance and the way I envision my balance is going to be different than the way you envision your balance. Maybe the way maybe the way I do my balance may be your prime like idea of what balance is, right? I had to start somewhere. I had to come up with my own definition. I had to come up with my own, you know, way. And the same thing with you. If you want your balance, or you want to combine your light and dark, you have to do it for yourself. There's no book out here to tell you it's exactly this much, or it's exactly this much, and you need to do it like this, or you need to go one decision good, one decision bad. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. That one decision good could be, you know, giving a kidney. That one decision bad is blowing up a bank. Then the one decision good is giving a homeless person $1. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah. Anyway, back to the other part. Okay, another part of the and when you do this, and when you become your truth, you are a sword. Okay, you are a sword. You know what I'm saying? You become the sword. You are clarity. You clarify things for others, and others clarify things to you, because you understand the wisdom behind belief systems. You understand the wisdom of something. When you understand the wisdom of something, or you are wise in a wisdom, it leaks out of you. Like it's kind of like you have a connection that never leaves, never dies. You're constantly communicating with this wisdom. This wisdom is always communicating with you. Okay? So basically what I'm saying is, like, you know, if there was like art, or there was like math or whatever, art is a wisdom. Math is a wisdom. Driving, you know, racing is a wisdom. You know what I'm saying? All these different things that we indulge in life are wisdoms, right? Because it requires a certain knowledge to know these things. When you are indulgent in that wisdom, or when you drown yourself in that wisdom, it tells you its secrets, right? Just like a person. When you're around somebody long enough, you begin to understand their wisdoms. You see? It's the same thing. All right, next part about this positive thing here. You have the moon in reverse. What this has to do with, and this isn't about confessing everything to everyone, but this has to do with confessing what needs to be confessed to you. You don't have to, if you ain't Catholic, you ain't got to go to confession. You ain't got to do all that. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is that you have to come to terms with your truths. In order to embrace the truth, you have to embrace your dark side. In order to embrace your dark side, all the things that you've done, that you know you've done wrong, you have to admit it. You have to come to terms with it. You did it, that's what you did, right? A lot of people cannot do that. They will not do that. They will go to their grave. They will look for something wrong with you to justify what they've done to you. Other than saying, hey, look, you know what? It was messed up. I shouldn't have did that to you. I shouldn't have did you like that, right? You know why? You know why they won't come like that to you when they do you wrong? It is because they don't have control. They want control over how you forgive them. There's people out here like that wants to control how you forgive them. Maybe it is a human thing. We want to control how we forgive others or how others forgive us. But we don't want them to have control over how we forgive them. You see what I'm saying? Like if you want forgiveness for somebody, you want them to forget all about it. It goes back to like it never happened. But what about if that same thing happened to you? Can you do the same thing is the question. Can you do the same exact thing? Can you be put in the same exact situation with the same circumstances? And when that person say, hey, I was wrong, can you forgive me? Can you go back to it being like it never happened? Can you do that? More than likely, depending on what happened, no. Most people, no. They can't. You see what I'm saying? But you want to control the way you are forgiven. That isn't fair. That's not right. That's not how the universe works. Okay? So, with this moon card in reverse, this has to do with diving deep into your subconscious mind, exploring your secrets, all the things that you keep hidden. Come to terms with it. You have to audit your soul. Okay? If you want to be happier, or if you want to change your life for the better, you have to audit your soul. Everything that you've done, all the demons that haunt you at night, the guilt, the shame, all that, just come to terms with it and just say, yeah, I did that. I'm not proud about it, but I did that. You see? That's why there was that video about the narcissist that we talked about. Remember I told you about the narcissist and I said this is how you disarm them? They're going to bring shit up against you and you just say, you know what? You're right. That's where this comes from. The narcissistic soul is almost very low vibrational and close to borderline demonic, in my opinion. Okay? It's not necessarily, it doesn't mean that they are demons. It just means that they are very low vibrational, like a demon or like a dark spirit. How do you disarm a dark spirit? You have to give them something. You have to make it where there's nothing to resist. They're going to accuse you of shit. And you just say, you know what? You're right. That spirit goes quiet. Why? Because it has to find something else to contort you. It has to find something else. It has to search you for guilt and shame. It has to search you. Find something else that you are, should be ashamed of or hurt for. And when you admit to that, then what? Eventually, it'll get to the point where you've admitted to yourself and this entity everything. And then you can face that demon and say, okay, what now? It goes away. Why? Because it is attached to the energy of feeling guilt and shame. That's the energy that it's attached to. It's attached to the guilt energy. That's what it's attached. That low vibrational energy is what it feeds off of. It can't hurt or harm you until you lower your vibration to guilt and shame. Last, bam! You see? That Ten of Wands that Ten of Swords came up, right? Remember I was just talking about that Ten of Swords? And I was telling you about how basically in the upright, the way I read it is kind of like this Ten of Swords is kind of like these conflicting beliefs. Excuse me. It's kind of like you are like, it gives me the vibe of like, there's a lot of people out here with like, I'll put it like this. It gives me the vibe of you wanting to grow, but you don't want to change your belief system, okay? So you got all these conflicting beliefs just stabbing you in the back, picking you apart. Imagine each one of these swords representing a demon, right? Or something that keeps you up at night. Only you would know. Imagine that. Now, when we turn it upside down, that's you recovering from it. Why? Because you followed the steps that I just laid out here. You stripped it of its power. Now you can start healing. You see? It's as simple as that. With liberation comes in phases, right? So basically, when it comes to liberation of mental, emotional bondages, and sometimes even spiritual bondages, that's a little different, but in a sense, I had to find another way to correlate that, you know? But basically, it goes like this. When you are in some kind of contortion, when you are in conflict with yourself, right? You're in a conflict with yourself. You're fighting with yourself. You are going through all these emotions. It's attracting all these entities. You got all these problems, a lot of stuff going on, right? But you just want peace. And remember, I was talking about how everybody wants peace, but not everybody know how to go about it is the problem. The question that gets the most money in this realm, the most important question that has ever been invented is how. You see? How do I heal myself? How do I go about? How do I do this? How? When you ask the question how, what does that imply? You are taking the first step towards something. You are asking for help. You are saying that I recognize and I acknowledge that this is a problem in my life and or yours. And I'm not going to sit here. I'm going to do something about it. How? How do I do this? How do I fix this? How? Right? Well, I'm here to tell you now that the best way to liberate yourself mentally or emotionally, I came across it in this book. It's called The Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu, right? I forgot what edition it was, but I have to get that edition, okay? Basically what it said was that, and I'm going to tell of course I got to draw it out and tell you in a parable. There was this man, he was traveling, and he walked past this monastery, right? In this monastery, he decided to peek in and see what was going on. He peeks in. There was people everywhere running around, yelling. No, I take it back. The first time he went by, he didn't see anything. Nothing was going on. He just saw a monk sitting there meditating in the center of the monastery, okay? So he goes on about his business. And then upon return, he peeks in again out of curiosity because he hears a lot of noise, right? He goes and he checks it out, and guess what? There's a lot of people from all over just doing everything that they can, like just yelling, screaming, crying, fighting, drinking, everything. They were just they were just emotionally ecstatic. The energy was just livid, right? Just wild. And he noticed that that monk was sitting in the midst of them, still meditating, right? So he shook his head and he kept going, right? Well, it turns out he had to make another trip. So he goes back and he said, you know what? I want to see what happened. So he, curiosity got the best of him. It was quiet, right? So he goes up and he peeks in, right? Guess what? Everyone is meditating. It's quiet. Everyone is meditating just like the monk. He said, okay. So then he leaves. And then on his trip back, guess what? Everybody's gone. And the only person there was the monk. So he was curious about what happened here. So he went and he asked the monk. He said, the people, like, where did everyone go? Like, and, basically what happened here, right? And he was given this man the secret to liberation. In liberation, first of all, you have to express it. You have to be in that Queen of Wands energy. Queen of Sword energy. Well, I'll put it like that. It followed the suit, right? You're in that Knight of Sword energy. I'll put it like that. Where you're acting or taking action on the information that you have. It's undesired that you are in this state. It's undesired or intolerable. You're angry, so you're expressing you're angry. You're sad about it, so you're expressing your sadness. You're happy or whatever, like, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, you're expressing it. You're getting it all out. You're yelling it out. You see what I'm saying? Just getting it all out, right? That's step one. Step one can't happen unless you confess and acknowledge to yourself that this is a problem, right? So step two, after you got it all out, you come to terms with it. You examine it for what it is. Whenever you are given a problem in life, right? And this is a universal law. When problems come about, you break it down, you give it definition, you define it. And defining things, what does it do? It strips it of its power over you. You see? Same thing in the spiritual realm. You have all these entities and spirits and stuff roaming around. You have all these demons and other people. You have problems at home and at work and stuff like that. You're not going to be able to wrap your mind around everything. But a general definition is all you have to go with, right? And you begin to strip it of its power, its authority, its reign in your life. You begin to break the shackles that it created around your neck. Same thing with overindulgence, right? Once you define that overindulgence, like say if it's drugs, you're like, man, I'm only doing this because I want to escape this problem. Well, why do you want to escape that problem? Because this and that is happening and I just don't know what to do. Oh, well, why don't you find a solution to that problem? Or why don't you actively, I'll put it like this, the time and money that you're putting into running from the problem is going to build up versus you going to solve it. That's time management right there. It takes less time to solve the problem than it does to run from it. Why? Because you're going to run today, you're going to run tomorrow, and then eventually the amount of running that you do speeds up, right? Because essentially when you run, you're doing what? You're speeding. You're speed, right? So you might start off walking away from the problem. Then you're jogging away from the problem. Then you're running away from the problem. So what does that mean essentially? Every week, you might run from the problem. You might get high, whatever, do drugs, escape, not think about it, right? You do drugs, it keep you from thinking about it for what, like an hour or two, But the first time you do it, it might take it off your mind for maybe a day or two. You know what I'm saying? Or until it comes back up. Next thing you know, you're doing this addiction to escape from it. Not just a day, but every time, every hour. Because now it's coming up more often than normal, right? And then you escape from that. What happens again? It really start hitting you in the fan. Really start tearing your ass up. Because it's hitting you every hour, right? Every hour. You get high, you get drunk, you know, whatever addiction that you indulge in to escape it, guess what? It's only while you're doing it that you don't think about it at this point, right? While you're doing this, you're not thinking about it. Then eventually it invades even that mind space. That while you're escaping, it's on you. What do you do then? You see? How much money did you spend escaping? Weigh out how much money it take for you to escape versus how much money and time it would have took for you to solve the problem. Even if you don't know how, with all the information out here, information is abundant. How many people did you ask about how to solve the problem? Or is your pride too high? You see? Yeah. Anyway, back to what I was talking about, the liberation here, right? That's exactly what happens here. Liberation. If you're going to change or transition from one polarity to the other into living a more loving or more positive life, you have to go through liberation. What is liberation? The dark night of the soul. Okay? Because what's going to happen when you go through the dark night of the soul, and I preach this more times than, you know, it's different for everybody, but it's going to get to the point where you won't have anyone, you're not going to have anything, everything that you try to build is going to be destroyed. Because essentially in the dark night of the soul, it is a tower in itself. Everything is leveled. Almost everything is leveled. What is true to you remains. Your true friends will be there for you. Your true family members will be there for you. The true jobs or the true incomes or the true foundations you built will be there, right? The things you built that was true will stay, but the things you built on faulty foundations will be destroyed. What I'm saying is that if you built your entire life off of spell work to get everything you want, everything that was built off that spell work will be destroyed in the dark night of the soul. What does that do? It creates madness in the mind, madness in the heart. Now you are wild. You are that Knight of Sword energy, right? Yeah, you that Knight of Sword energy. And then when you go to the Queen of Sword, what are you doing? You're expressing it. You're expressing it, right? And then after all of that, what do you do for the liberation? You have to come to terms with it. You put yourself in a circumstance situation where you are in a boxing ring with it or you're in a ring with it. The only way you can go forward is to either work with it, work around it, or solve it or whatever, right? That is why they saw all the people meditating, because they started breaking it down. What is this problem really? How did this problem really manifest into my life? What could I have done different? You know, they're really asking who, what, when, where, how, and why. Is this a problem that is mine, or is this someone else's problem that's projected or dumped on me? Because there's a difference. Is this a problem within my power, or is this a problem outside of my control? And I have to be honest with myself. This is the beginning of entering into that King of Sword energy. Okay, the first phase is that the first phase of that King of Sword energy is that meditation part, right? Because in the last phase, you are taking what you learned and you are returning back to the world. Okay, and you're living that truth that you just learned. That's how you become the King of Swords. You see? That's how you become your truth. That when you come out of the dark night of the soul, that's the whole goal. Not everybody make it out of the dark night of the soul, though. There's some people that actually commit suicide and some people that kill themselves in that. You see what I'm saying? But everybody that goes through spiritual work, you got to go through it. You got to go through it. You got to. You know? Everybody, like, by the time you turn 29, I put it like this. Just before you turn 30, everybody has to go through a Saturn return. You know what I'm saying? And that was just like what Tupac was saying, like, by the time you don't see no loudmouth 30-year-olds, you know why? Because most of them are going through the dark night of the soul. Most of them are going through some kind of form of spiritual warfare that is waged on them. They are going through some transitionatory phase. And by the time you get done to come out, you come out with a different mind state and a different mind frame. You see what I'm saying? Those that choose to go in earlier than normal, they come out flying colors, no problems. Okay? So yeah, that's the whole energy that I got for this reading here. I might pull a few more to see what else we got here. I'm gonna do one more and then I'm gonna shut it down. The overall energy that I do get from this is the circle of life. Okay? With the circle of life and this Native American energy, the circle of life, everything is interconnected. What I see here is a ripple. The ripple effect. Another cosmic law. Right? Remember I told you everything is constantly uploading and downloading? What you do today ripples out into what happens in your reality, and it essentially affects the reality of other people around you as well. Okay? What I'm saying is, you're a father, you're a mother, right? Your mind, what you think in your mind, and this is just for the parents, okay? And I'm not telling you how to be a parent. This is just something to think about. All right? You're a parent, right? What you think, the mind state that you're in, well, I ain't even gonna label it good or bad. Whatever mind state that you're in becomes what you start speaking, what you're saying, okay? What you're saying occasionally becomes the stuff that you do or what gets done around you, right? Those become the habits, right? Those habits become the character of the family. You see? Who's watching you? The children. So they're picking up the stuff that you're saying and doing. You know, a lot of people, parents say, do as I say, not as I do. No. You can't do that. You got to know what kind of kids you got. If you got a kid that's kinesthetic, if you got a kid that's visual, if you got a kid that's auditory, learning styles, they're listening. The auditory kids are listening to what you're saying, whether you mean it or not. The visual kids are looking at your examples, whether you want them to or not. The kinesthetic kids are following, they're learning based off of how you do shit, whether you want them to or not. You see what I'm saying? So all that, do as I say, not as I do, no, we need some examples. At least give us something to work with. Because that's what that circle of life is about. It's a ripple, like a pool of water, but constantly bouncing up and down. You see? You took that drop of water in there and it's rippling and spreading. What that represents, your input, your character or whatever it is, your thoughts, emotions and stuff like that you bring to the house. It's that drop of water is your input into the family, right? It started affecting the kids. The kids take that, they ripple it out into the community, into the school, okay? It's leaking out into your workplaces. It's rippling. It affects everybody around you. You're having a bad day, you yell at the person at McDonald's about it. Now they're in a bad mood and they're going to spread that energy. Energy is contagious. It's contagious. There's a reason why they say that we are all interconnected. Okay? There's a reason why, because eventually that energy is going to catch back up with you. Whatever you put out, however you put it out, whatever you put out is coming back. A lot of people say they don't believe in karma. You don't have to believe in karma to understand the ripples of the universe and how it works. Look at a pool. Eventually, those ripples gonna hit the side of the pool, right? And start rippling right back to where it all happened at. You know what I'm saying? Eventually. That's something you cannot ignore, right? So, I guess the next stick on the seat that I choose to do is gonna be oh, that was a bust. Okay, aspects of Mars. Mars aspects in Jupiter. Okay, so basically it has to do with Mars being in Jupiter. I don't know if anybody Mars is in Jupiter, but it has to be, this is definitely a go-getter energy. So you're being called to be like a go-getter, right? So this next reading is going to be conformed around that. I had to switch my whole reading shit up because somebody keeps stealing my fucking formations. They keep stealing my my spreads and shit and trying to get paid off of it and doing it, you know what I'm saying, for other people and shit like that, and they fucking up the whole vibe of it. Because now when I tap into it, it's kind of like, you know, it's like this door, this portal like that you open is like, nah, nigga, like you need to open your own fucking portals, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah. So yeah, for a while I'll be floating around different portals. I'm not gonna stick to the same one. You know how some people admire you enough, so they kind of copy you. They admire you, and so they copy you, and they try to, you know, that's their way of admiring you, copying you. You know what I'm saying? Recording you, stuff like that, trolling you. That's that childlike state of mind. They say flattery is the first form of admiration, or is that right? Admiration is something about admiration and flattery. I don't know. Anyway, so Mars and Jupiter, right? Being a go-getter. In order to be a go-getter, you know, that go-getter energy, you can't fool yourself. That's the number one. There's a lot of people out here who fool themselves, or they have this, you know, they think that they can do something bigger than what they can do, and that's not going to help. That's not going to fly. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to be ambitious, but there's like I said, remember I was talking about, there's that energy of moderation, knowing what you can do and what you can't do. What you can do is just as important as what you cannot do. Okay? Then you have that eight of pentacle energy. Yeah, so yeah, that's definitely the route that there's no easy way to the top. Somebody wants to take, you know, whoever this Mars and Jupiter, or whoever is trying to be a go-getter or ambitious and stuff like that, you have to know that there's no easy way to the top at all. There's no easy way. And if there is an easy way to the top, guess what? It's not worth taking, because you're going to lose everything. That give me the vibe of like, you know how you got a lot of people who out here, and there's no shade at all, but people who, you know, sell drugs and stuff like that, they get a lot of money. They get a lot of fast money. Sometimes the money comes so damn fast, they can't even do shit with it. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is that when you get caught, you know what I'm saying, that could be it. You may never make money ever again, or there's only a certain amount that you'll be able to take with you. Your mom, your dad, your friends, everybody around you get gummed up. People start coming up dead. Like, it'll cost you a lot more in the long run. You see what I'm saying? It ends up costing you a lot in the long run, but you know, for some people, that's that lifestyle that they like. I ain't here to judge. That's on you. But yeah, we got this eight of pentacle energy in reverse. Ain't no easy way to the top. Everything you got hard work. Even if you are just someone who like a homosexual, or somebody who sleep with people for money and stuff like that, you still have to keep your body tight, right? You still have to have a good makeup. You gotta keep your body type. You gotta have a wig, shoes, clothes. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? You gotta be visually alluring, right? You think that's easy? You're a damn fool if you think it's easy, because those who think it's easy end up doing what? Losing it. Who you think will stay in power or will get the most money? The one who's actually out there in the gym working out and stuff like that, keeping their body fit and stuff like that, or the one who just sleeps with everybody for any and everything, but not taking care of themselves, right? Yeah. Next we have the Nine of Pentacles in reverse here, right? So the thing is that when you are a go-getter, you have to be okay with being what you do. When you're broke, that tells a lot about your character and what kind of go-getter you're going to be. Okay? When you don't have anything. If you're going to be a go-getter, it's best to get acquainted with a simple lifestyle. Simplicity. Simplicity supersedes all complexities at all time, because the most complex thing there is to do out here is to be simple. Don't get that? Okay, well, let me explain it. Think of the simplest thing in the world, right? Now, try to explain that simple thing. It gets complicated, right? It gets more complex, right? Regardless of what simple thing you're trying to explain, the more you try to explain it, it gets what? More and more complex, right? So the most complex thing there is to embrace out here is simplicity. That's the hardest thing to embrace, simplicity. Once you get acquainted with simplicity, everything else falls into line. People are going to talk about you because you ain't got no shoes, or you ain't got this, or you know what I'm saying? But it's all about, if you're going to be a go-getter, you have to be comfortable in the mud. Oh, you know what I'm saying? That's just like if you are let's say like a mercenary, or you work for you are a military person, military personnel, right? You're a soldier out there in the field, right? They do all these drills with you and, get you down in the dirt and the lowest and the worst conditions. Why? Because when you are out there in the field, it will, being out in the field is going to be a little bit easier for you, because you've operated under more stressful circumstances and situations in most cases, right? It's the unknown that triggers people the most. So if you are going to be a go-getter, I will highly suggest that you start with simplicity, being happy with what you have or where you are, because you're not going to be there forever. That's the mind state. That's it right there. That's it. Knowing that you won't be there forever. But not just knowing that you won't be there forever, but actually actively taking steps towards not being there forever. You see what I'm saying? You'll meet CEOs at McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? There's like Kanye West, all those other like rappers and stuff like that. All of them didn't just start off, as rappers or models, no, they started somewhere. Everybody starts somewhere. That's the whole point here. If you're going to be a go-getter, you have to start somewhere. And don't be ashamed about where you start at. You just learn what you have, or where you are at that time, and then you build on that knowledge or that wisdom. If that's a wisdom that you want to keep, you hold on to what fits you, what suits you, and you separate from the rest. Getting up on time and showing up for work all the time is a wisdom that you acquire when you are working at McDonald's, right? You also acquire the wisdom of knowing how to work with people, how to diffuse situations, right? How to negotiate scheduling. Because sometimes people don't want to show up for work. That's an opportunity for you to get more money, right? It's opportunities. So, last but not least, we have the Queen of Wands in reverse, right? Excuse me. The Queen of Wands is a very, very confusing card for me in this circumstance situation, for the simple fact that it gives me the vibe of somebody who wants to manifest but doesn't know how to manifest, basically. And you know why they don't manifest is because they're not connected to the Most High, and they don't know how to connect with their intuition. You see what I'm saying? So I guess the vibe here will have to be more like you're gonna have to balance out your moves. Okay, don't manifest something that you don't want. Don't manifest something you're not gonna make a move on, flat out, especially in terms of money. You know what I'm saying? That's just like going to the dope man asking for a brick knowing you ain't got the clientele. Does that make sense? I'm pretty sure that makes sense to a lot of people. Why ask for 30 candy bars when you know you're going to sell 10? Wouldn't it be wiser to buy 15? Buy 15. Hold out. Pay, you know what I'm saying? Move them other, move what you can. You know what I'm saying? Take that profit. Find you more clientele, right? Or else you're just going to be stuck with a lot of candy bars, or a candy lady or a man is pissed off at you because you can't pay for what you bought. Right? So yeah, Queen of Wands, when it comes to being a go-getter, don't manifest shit that you ain't gonna make a move on. If you ain't gonna make a move on it, don't even manifest it. Why? Because that takes time and energy. Everything is all time and energy oriented. It's all about time, energy, and the time-space continuum management. All cosmic laws. You know what I'm saying? All right, nature laws, freedom horse. I like this freedom horse, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because this freedom horse give me the vibe of somebody who kind of like stays in the box, or who can't think outside the box, in a sense, right? How can somebody who can't perceive what's outside the box be ambitious? How can somebody else who have trouble thinking outside the box be wealthy or a millionaire or successful in life? How? Right? That famous question, how? How can I be successful if I can't think outside the box? That's the point of this freedom horse. Set yourself free. You know what I'm saying? All of that, I have to have $1 million and I have to work a 9 to 5 to have it. You know what? I've seen people that give me the vibe of like college, you know what I'm saying? Because like a lot of people associate college with success, right? And this could be for like my younger viewers, but I'm gonna give you the breakdown, right? If you are a younger viewer, you're 18, whatever, you're in school, you're in college or whatever, ask that professor. Well, I'll put it like this. If you're in high school, I'll put it like that. Ask your teacher how much do they make. More than likely, they're gonna say something like $50,000 to $70,000 a year, right? Okay. Then ask them how much did they pay to go to college to be a teacher. A lot of them, they probably are in $100,000 in debt for a $50,000 job, $60,000 job, $70,000 job, right? They're in debt to teach people how to be taught. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. You're teaching people how to be taught. Now, what happens if you think outside the box and you say, you know what? I can go to college with my friends and stuff like that. It'd be like getting out the house and all that other stuff, whatever. I can go. I'll acquire that debt, right? Start off in debt. You're 18, you're going to start off in debt. You might get some money from your Pell Grant or whatever grant that you get, scholarships or whatever. And that's another struggle. You're going to be stressed out trying to get funding for everything, right? Only for you to get into a profession. I mean, once you graduate, you got your bachelor's degree. And then you look around, it's like everybody has bachelor's degree. So what sets you aside from these other people, right? You're going to start off at about $40,000 a year, but you got debt of $60,000 to $70,000 for college, right? You got to pay that shit off, or you got to work for 5 years in order for that to come off, right? Got to be a public servant. So then you're like, you know what? I'm not satisfied with just being a teacher. I need something that's going to set me aside. Now you're going towards a master's degree, right? You get that master's degree, that's going to add another $40,000, $50,000 onto your debt, right? Now you are close to $120,000 in debt to be an instructor or a teacher, right? Guess what your salary going to be? About $60,000, $70,000 a year. You know, I would say about $60,000 a year, right? Then after that, you say, you know what? I need more money than that. So what are you going to do? You're going to go for your PhD, right? You get that PhD. Now you're what? Close to $200,000 in debt. You've been in school for 10 years out of your life. Kids are grown, all of that, you know. If you did it all at one whop, you would probably be about 30, right? But if you do it like most Americans, it took you about 20 years to get a 10-year degree, you know? So now you're like, what, 38, you're in your 40s, and you have $200,000 in debt. You got a mortgage, you got to have a car, you got kids, you got a family, you got nothing but debt. Debt that builds upon itself, right? Now, if you think outside the box and you go get you a trade, you're going to pay about $3,000 or $4,000 for a trade, right? Electrician, you know, plumber. All your friends, ha ha ha, he's a plumber, he this, he that, right? Car, oh, he's a technician, he didn't go to college, he's dumb, whatever, right? They laughing at you, right? I've seen more people successful doing trades than I have in the school system. You know why? It costs $4,000 to $6,000 to get a trade, and that's any trade. And all that 10 years to get a PhD, you can do that continuously on top of you starting your own business. So let's say if you're doing your journeyman as an electrician, guess what happens? You do your electrician journeyman, it's going to take you about 10 years. Let's say hypothetically 10 years, right? Could be a little less. While you're working in your journeyman, while you're doing that, you can start a business. That business may be running, make you $100,000 a year, right? While you're working for someone, making, like, let's say if you was working in General Motors, you'd be making about $50 an hour. So what does that mean? You work for 10 hours, that's $500. Is that right? $50 an hour, 10 hours. Yeah, that's about $500 a day. What can you do with $500 a day? That's the question. That's the difference between operating within the box and outside the box. You operate inside that box, you'll never be wealthy for a day in your life. People who are wealthy, people who make money, people who are abundant in life, those who are happier, those who, I ain't gonna say happier, I'm gonna say who are more affluent in life, aren't people who operate by the social norm. These are people who think outside the box. Bill Gates didn't stick inside the box. He went outside the box, right? Thought outside the box. So, I'm not telling you what to think, just giving you something to think about. All right, that's it. That's all I got for you today. And be careful about those 3D demons out here. You know, you got them 3D demons out here running around, so. Somebody got them 3D demons running around. Y'all better be careful. Some been peeking, looking in people's windows and yeah, my phone fell. Must have been one of them 3D demons that did it. All right. I love y'all all. Take it easy and peace.